Not every great watch needs to shout out for attention. Some just quietly get everything right. The proportions, the build, the comfort, and of course the design. And the Abinger Nimrod is one of those watches. It's understated, it's beautifully made, and it's very, very good value. Hi there, I'm Dave, and this is Microbrand Watch, where we explore the incredible design, passion, and innovation that's happening in the world of microbrand watchmaking. And today we're talking about the Nimrod, the debut model from Abinger. Now, Abinger are a young British microbrand with a genuinely personal story behind it. Abinger was founded by Tom, whose love of watches began when he was given a Mont Blanc by his late father-in-law. The moment he saw the movement, well, that was the spark. And like so many of us, what started with one watch quickly turned into an obsession. But what's really interesting is that while the Nimrod is Abinger's first release, it wasn't actually Tom's first design. He started with a simpler, smaller concept called the Comet, which would have been much easier and much cheaper to produce. But what I really like is that instead of taking the easy route, he decided to build something altogether more ambitious. In his own words, he decided to build his own Grail watch. That Grail watch is the Nimrod, and I absolutely love it. As a first release, the Nimrod is bold, and it shows real intent with regards to where Tom wants Abinger to go in the future. That drive to create something better than just good enough, for me, really sets the tone for everything about this watch and everything about the brand overall. But before we get into the details, a little bit of transparency. This watch is on loan directly from Tom at Abinger. However, this isn't a sponsored video, and Tom's had no input at all into the review. And unfortunately, I do need to give the watch back to Tom when I'm finished reviewing. And honestly, that's going to be hard. That said, Tom has kindly given all of us a discount code, which you can find in the description below. It'll get you 10% off the Nimrod if you decide to pick one up. And I don't get anything from it at all. It's simply a thank you from Tom to the Microbrand watch community. Now, let's dive into some details though. And I want to start where you first really begin to appreciate the Nimrod, and that's in the dial. The version that I'm wearing is called the Ardent Vale. It's a rich brown sunburst finish that shifts somewhere between espresso coffee and hot chocolate as the light changes. It's really elegant and sophisticated, and it's got a lot of class. There are two other colorways. Each of the versions shares the same clean design language, which is simple, legible, and very, very balanced. But each one has completely got its own personality. In terms of dimensions, we've got a case here that's 38 millimeters wide, 45 millimeter lug to lug with a thickness of just 10.9 mil. It's also got industry standard 20 mil lug widths, which makes me incredibly happy because I can use any of those raft of straps that I've got sat in the box. The case itself is 316L surgical stainless steel, but we've got a DLC coated bezel, which leans down into that beautiful brown sugar dial perfectly. Once you get to the dial, we've got raised Lume cast markers that give it a real presence and very, very good clarity. The hands are sized perfectly, and the seconds hand even has this small bit of lume on the tip, which for me ties the whole thing together really nicely and gives the watch a lovely sense of balance. And speaking of lume, this is one of the few watches that's actually made me care about it. As you know, I don't usually get excited about lume because, well, let's be honest, most of it is pretty average on a lot of microbrands. But the BGW9 on the Nimrod is outstanding. It's even, bright, and it tops itself up really quickly, even on a grey British afternoon. It's genuinely impressive, and that's not something I say very often about lume. But the Nimrod isn't just a pretty face. Inside, it's powered by the Miyota 9039, which is a slim, reliable Japanese automatic movement that's become a go-to for some of the best-known microbrands out there. You've got hacking, hand winding, 28,800 vibrations an hour, and around about 42 hours of power reserve. So this isn't a budget choice. The same movement itself powers watches from the likes of Baltic, Zelos, and Traska, who are all brands known for their finishing, their strong design language, and their build quality. So while the movement might not scream out for attention, it absolutely belongs in a watch of this quality. And it gives the Nimrod a certain mechanical credibility to back up its fantastic design. And that attention to detail continues as you move to the bezel, which uses a 12-hour scale instead of the usual dive layout. And I really like that choice. It fits perfectly with the watch's travel-inspired theme by allowing you to track a second time zone, as opposed to the sea of dive watches that just give you a glorified egg timer. The action on that bezel is solid, but if I'm being a little bit picky, I would have liked just a bit more grip around the edges. Nothing massive, just a personal preference. The watch comes on a stainless steel bracelet, which has got solid links, screw construction, and a fully brushed finish. And it's also got a proper tool-free micro-adjust clasp that works really, really well. It balances the watch perfectly, and it adds a real sense of quality to everything else. Abinger does also provide a lovely Cordura strap in the box, and you put that on and it instantly changes the personality of the watch. It's much more casual and even more adventurous potentially, but it's still refined. But with either the bracelet or the strap, on the wrist, the Nimrod just feels right. It's light enough to wear all day, but it's solid enough to have real presence. Look, this watch isn't trying to be a statement piece. It's not trying to outshine anyone or anything else. It's just well designed, well finished, and really easy to wear. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of another watch in my collection, the Hamilton Khaki King. They both share a similar size, they both got that strong crown and guard profile, and they even sit in the same general price bracket. Yes, the Hamilton runs a Swiss-made ETA movement with a day and date, while the Abinger's using that slimmer no-date Miyota 9039. So yes, they may have different approaches, but I think they try and achieve a similar goal. They're both reliable, wearable, everyday automatics that strike that really fine balance between being rugged and refined. And look, if a debut watch from a microbrand is drawing comparisons to a leading watch from a global brand, that's definitely doing something right in my eyes. And look, at 650 UK pounds, the Nimrod isn't a bargain bin microbrand, and nor should it be, given what you're getting here. The build quality, the finishing, the thoughtful design, it all adds up to something that is well worth the money and honestly feels a lot more expensive than it is. So what's the verdict? Well, if you haven't guessed by now, I absolutely love the Abinger Nimrod. At its simplest, this is a watch that gets the fundamentals right. It's compact, elegant, and quietly confident. There's no hype here, no gimmicks, just a well thought out design executed perfectly. But look beyond that, and you get exactly the kind of watch that I love to feature here. You've got a watch that's honest, wearable, and built by someone who genuinely cares about his brand and his watchmaking craft. And that's something that I can get behind 100%. And if you'd like to do the same, you can use the discount code that's showing on the screen at the moment on the Abinger website to get a 10% discount off the pre-release price until the end of 2025. The watches are due for delivery in March 26, so you won't have long to wait to get your hands on one of these beauties after you've placed the orders. But until then, I hope that today we've introduced you to another micro brand that you're going to want to watch. Until next time, enjoy your watches.